Oh, okay. Hello, people in cable land, cable TV land. This last 2 weeks, we've had to deal with the Hurricane Dorian, which was at one point a Category 5 hurricane, and it was one of the most powerful hurricanes. Now, this is what I read in it was one of the most powerful hurricanes in the North Atlantic. Okay. And it had wind speeds of 180 miles an hour? Sustained wind speeds of 180 miles an hour. Now, I'm going to tell you immediately, or at the very beginning here, that this is related to global warming. Sorry, not a hoax. Not a hoax. Not hoax from the Chinese either. I brought along the map. I brought along this little map for you. Oh gosh. Okay, and this is the global temperature departure from the average. And I'm not sure what year they're using average. Maybe, let's see, here's 0, 0. And this is over the period of 1988, or 1888 to 2018. And let's see, I explained this once before. This is from NOAA, from the evil people at NOAA, and do all the weather do a lot of the weather tracking. There's the National Weather Service. They have satellites. They have buoys all over the place, so they can tell the water temperature, the ocean temperature, I mean. They got satellites. They got ground measurements. And they have ground measurements now practically all over the globe. They have them in Antarctica. They have them in Greenland. Northern Canada, Alaska. They may have buoys in Arctic, in the Arctic Sea. They've got a lot of data. Let's put it that way. So, boy, I don't want to go on too long here. So Dorian, we got very lucky it didn't make landfall in Florida. If it had made landfall in Florida, there would have been billions of dollars in damages and maybe loss of life, flooding, coastal flooding, storm surge, water surges, maybe lots of rainfall. Let me go over the global warming aspect of this. You can see here, this is the 1880 when they first started taking direct measurements in the U.S. and in Europe, certainly in Great Britain. I'm assuming France did it too. Maybe Germany did it. I know that Great Britain did it. Actually, people were in Great Britain, they were taking temperatures sporadically since the 1600s when they started using thermometers. I think. I'm not sure when the thermometer was invented, but I think they were taking measurements in 1700. I could be wrong on that. I think the Europeans were ahead of us in temperature recording. But at any rate, I got off on a tangent. So here this is before this cooler period in 1880 to 1930 is before the large increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, right? You all know that, don't you? It's a greenhouse gas. I'm telling you. It's a greenhouse gas. And by the way, we've known that carbon dioxide has been a greenhouse gas since 1820. Since 200 years ago, 250 years ago, we knew it was a greenhouse gas. And in this period, we're burning coal. The world is burning coal. The big oil boom has not really started. That didn't start until the 20s and the 30s when they came across large reservoirs of oil, and then cars were invented, in 20s. Cars became very popular and cheap, or reasonably priced. So everyone starts driving cars, burning gasoline. All during this period, people are burning coal for heating, coal for steam engines, etc. Oh, and then in here we get jet flight. We have the jet plane. We have propeller planes in here, and then we have jet planes, I don't know, in here. not sure when the jet planes became ubiquitous, so the jet plane, I would say 1950, jet planes, for commercial purposes were coming online. So you see here that, look at this increase in temperature right here. This is rather shocking. Look at the slope of that. We go from down here, we go from down here to way up. Now, this is when people started burning oil and coal. Coal for heat, oil for transportation, cars and planes. Then this period is a lull, and we think, or scientists think, that this is because there was a lot of particulate matter thrown up into the atmosphere by burning dirty coal, not having scrubbers, not having catalytic converters. And so the atmosphere is filled with particulate matter, which blocks the sun, and you get a decrease in solar radiation, decrease in heat coming through to the surface of the planet. And then in 1970, here, you started to get pollution controls, scrubbers on coal plants, catalytic converter. So you get particulate matter, you get removed from the atmosphere, and boom, we get a large increase in the radiation starts to get through. The air is cleaner, and we get this period of increased temperature all throughout here. Since when did it really start? Well, it started in the 70s when the pollution controls came in, and it really hasn't abated throughout that entire period. Now, you Fox News people out there, 1998. I'm going to go to 1998 right now. That's 1998. 1998 was a big warm year, and then it decreased or leveled off. They said there's a lull. It stopped. Well, it did stop for several years. 1988 was an El Niño year, and then this is 2004. Okay, 2004 was a little bit hotter than 1998. This is 2008, I believe. That was hotter, and 1998, and then it just explodes up here. This is 2016. So the idea that the Earth the global temperature hasn't gone up, the Earth hasn't warmed since 1998 is completely false. Look at that. Here's 1998 right here. This is that where it was. All this is above that. And we'll get large, powerful hurricanes, because not only is the atmosphere warming, not only is the landmass warming, but the oceans are warming a lot. And there's a lot more ocean than there is land mass on the Earth. And the ocean absorbs much more heat, much more solar radiation than either the land or the air. So the atmosphere. And the atmosphere really acts as a blanket. I better stop. I just wanted to add a few things about this graph and about global warming science, or climate change science. I call it global warming, but you can call it climate change. It's just as accurate, I think. I don't know, maybe it's more accurate. I just think of it as global warming. The scientists knew in the 1800s that carbon dioxide trapped infrared radiation, solar or heat radiation, and it's a larger molecule. It's larger than oxygen in the atmosphere. It's larger than nitrogen in the atmosphere. So it acts as a barrier to the solar radiation and heat. And so they knew this in 1920. The idea that this was a hoax No, it's just basic science. It's basic science, and then okay. So in 1820, they figured out that carbon dioxide was would trap infrared radiation, a greenhouse gas. Then in 1890, I think it was 1896, there was the first calculation by a scientist named Svante Arrhenius. He's a Swedish, won the Nobel Prize. He was a physicist, chemist, all-around guy. And he noticed that everyone in Europe, he's Swedish, so he was familiar with Europe. Everyone in Europe is burning coal at that point, 1890, is burning coal for heat. Well, coal gives off lots of carbon dioxide. So he thought, if there's, I don't know how many people were on the planet then, 1 billion, 2 billion, 1 billion, say. If a lot of those people are burning coal for railroad, steam engine, heat, he calculated how many tons of carbon dioxide were going into the atmosphere per year, and he thought if you doubled the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, what I'm not going to make sure I get that. He did a calculation. I think what the calculation was, if you doubled the amount of carbon dioxide, how much increase in temperature would you get? You can double check me on this, and I will have to do a little bit more research, maybe do an addendum to this. But he did a calculation that turns out to be quite accurate. I mean, considering that he was doing a paper and pencil thing, and he didn't have exact data on, like satellite data and all that business. So that was in 1890. They were already thinking of global warming. And then I have a little clip, and I'll put this up. It's from 1920. I think it's 1920. And in a clip it says, scientists are worried about increased carbon dioxide in the atmosphere due to coal burning. Because at that point, 1920, most of it is you're burning is coal, not oil. And so, not a hoax. China has nothing to do with it. And we will get one of the side effects, because I was talking about Hurricane Dorian, is you'll get larger, more powerful, more frequent. That's a little bit of a debate, but you'll certainly get larger, more powerful hurricanes, and greater. Not only is the wind's going to be greater, the rainfall is going to be greater, the storm surge is going to be greater, and I forgot to mention in the previous video, sea level rise. Sea level, because as the Earth warms, there's two things. As the Earth warms, what happens to ocean water? One is it expands because it's warmer. The water expands. The water molecules are expanding as they get warmer. So the whole upper layer of the ocean, and even the bottom layers are getting warmer now too, but the upper layers are going to warm quickly, and then they expand, and so the sea level goes up that way. And then because of the runoff and ice and snow, the melting of Greenland is melting, the glaciers are melting. Glaciers all over the world are melting and retreating and receding. So, but Greenland is the big one, and the other big one is Antarctica. So those will melt, and that runoff will end up in the oceans, and then the oceans will go up and up and up. So, okay, that's all I have to say on that. Hi, Scott. Scott Adams, the guy who does the Trump blog. It's me again. You may be obsessed about Trump as I am, unfortunately, because it's sort of like watching a train wreck, right? I thought I would do a new series because you brought up global warming, which, no debate. No debate. Nope. Settled. It's settled. The debate is, here I'm going to point at you, Scott, and Trump, dumb Trump, but mostly Scott. Trump doesn't know YouTube. Trump doesn't know YouTube because he doesn't know how to use a computer. I'm going to give him another thumbs up. He doesn't know how to use a computer, so he doesn't know what YouTube is. And he certainly has no notion, zero notion of what global warming is. Let me give another thumbs up. Yeah, he knows not a goddamn thing about global warming. But Scott Adams, cartoonist, phenomenal cartoonist, you have an inkling of what it is. I think. It's my guess. I think you're a little worried about it. So today we're going to learn little facts about global warming. I thought this would be a way of, having a daily conversation. Because I can't get through your hour videos. Sorry, I just can't. It's like, it's a little like watching Trump for an hour. But today's lesson is going to be the albedo effect and global warming. Did you hear that? My pronunciation is not this clear, but it's albedo. It's a Latin word, and it comes from white, the Latin word for white. I think it's like albino too. Maybe albino comes from the same root. But Donald Trump doesn't know any of this, right? Okay. Oh, I'm trying to point out how ignorant he is, but that's okay. We'll go with albedo. The albedo effect means, in regards to global warming, is that the more radiation that's reflected from the sun's rays hit the Earth, and then a lot of it is reflected back out to space if there's a high albedo or high whiteness. And the high whiteness or lightness areas of the globe, the highest, are snow-covered, which is Antarctica. Okay, Antarctica, which is completely snow-covered. Greenland, almost completely snow-covered, snow and ice. The polar ice cap, which used to be large, or the Arctic ice cap. So that would all reflect light back out into space. And there was little or no heating effect. That's the albedo effect. Now, Greenland is here. I'm going to clue the Trumpers. Talking to the Trumpers now that don't read. I don't know science. Sorry, I can't help being sarcastic. I just can't. So, for those of you who don't read and you don't know science, Greenland, the Greenland ice sheet, which is enormous, it's huge. It's not only huge geographically, it's thick. It is. I'd have to check this. 2 miles thick, 3 miles thick of ice. It's just incredible. The amount of snow and ice on that huge, it's almost a continent. It's a large island. Okay, so all that Greenland ice sheet, that reflects the snow, or reflects the sunlight back out to space, and it doesn't heat up. What's happening now is those ice sheets are melting because of global warming. the ice sheets in Greenland are melting. Okay, and then there's also a second problem in Greenland, is that there is what they call black. What do they call? It's called black box effect or black. It's when soot and particles start to cover the ice and snow, and that black particles absorbs a lot of light and then heat, so that there's even more melting. I've forgotten quite the term of it. There's a scientist, Jason Box, Jason something. Maybe his name is Jason Box, and he's got this thing called Black Box blog or something, where he's studying the melting of the Greenland ice sheets and glaciers. So the thought is that Greenland is melting the fastest. It's melting much faster than Antarctica. It's closer to the equator. Greenland is closer to the equator than Antarctica. Okay, so Greenland the Greenland ice sheet is melting very fast. The other albedo effect situation, or one other one, is the Arctic ice cap. And the Arctic ice cap, for those who don't know science, or Donald Trump, the polar ice cap has been melting and getting smaller, which means that because there's less ice, less whiteness, less albedo, the sunlight comes in and it's absorbed almost entirely by ocean water. If there's no ice, it's absorbed. It goes down into the water column, and it warms up the water, maybe 100 feet down. I don't know how many feet down, maybe 50 feet, 100 feet, I don't know. That whole layer of ocean water absorbs all that radiation, solar radiation and heat, and it heats it up quickly. Let me say much so. The albedo effect in the Arctic is very strong. I mean, if the polar ice cap shrinks even more, you'll get more sunlight, radiation will be absorbed, and then that water will heat up more, etc., etc. It's called a positive feedback loop. Here, let me give a thumbs up. Positive feedback loop, Donald. Big brain. Big here, big here, big here, big back here. It's all big because he's got a big brain. Yeah, and shall we go over the latest? 2016 was the hottest year on record. 2016 was the hottest year on record. The second hottest year on record was 2015. This decade is on track to be the hottest decade since the temperature record was being kept. So there isn't a debate. Did you get that, Scott? I don't think there's a debate. Greenland is melting. Ice sheets are retreating. Polar ice cap is getting smaller. The temperature of the Earth is getting hotter. Sea levels are rising. I don't know where your argument is, Scott. Yeah, you give me your argument. Yeah, let's turn this around. You give me your best argument, your sharpest argument, that we shouldn't worry that 2016 was the hottest year on record. We shouldn't worry that the sea level is rising. We shouldn't worry that the ice is retreating and melting in Greenland. We shouldn't worry about any of that in the Arctic. We shouldn't worry because it's a hoax. It's just so annoying to have to do this. It's such a waste of everyone's time. And find a scientific one, Scott. Find one scientific organization that says global warming isn't happening. It's a theory. I don't know, it's a big hoax. It started in 1850 or 1820 with some silly scientist saying that carbon dioxide was a greenhouse gas, and the hoax perpetuated over the next 2 centuries. Give me one scientific organization. I can name you 10 that have statements. American Meteorological Society, the American Chemical Society, the geographical, what is it? Union of, it's called Union, Geographical Union Society or something like that. They're all on the page. So, albedo.
Oh, okay. Well, this video went on longer than I expected. I started out talking about the Hurricane Dorian. It wasn't going to hit Alabama. I hate to tell the President Donald Trump. It was a very severe hurricane. It's lucky it didn't hit Florida. Had it hit Florida, we would have had a big disaster, into the billions of dollars worth of losses probably. I don't know how much flooding, tidal rise, rain, etc., etc., etc. And hurricanes are bigger and more powerful because everything is heating up. The oceans are warmer, air temperature is warmer, there's more humidity in the atmosphere to generate storms, etc. So now, if you guys, I'm sure there are a lot of Trumpers out there, Tea Party. Oh, I know what I'm going to do for the end of this video. I just thought of the Tea Party Patriots. Now, you can argue with me. I want to put up my email address, and you can bitch, moan, gripe, complain, give me your sophisticated arguments. I kind of doubt you have sophisticated arguments, though. I've heard a lot of really semi-sophisticated arguments against global warming, like, what about the satellite record in 1998? What about that? What about that? Ha, 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 ha. Yeah, well, they've pretty much debunked that in the sense that there was a little error in the satellite measurement of temperature in the atmosphere, but that now we're in full heating. There isn't any lull. I hate to tell all you deniers. God, they were tons of them on the internet doing their videos. Oh, here's a glacier. It's gone. I don't know where this is. So it's over almost 100 years. Boom, it's gone. Look at it, it's even greening. You get areas where it's almost lush green vegetation where there was a freezing cold, large glacier. So I'll give you my email, and you know what? Maybe I'll even discuss the emails, even the ones with swearing in them and threats and etc. And let me emphasize again, Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about. Gosh, I'm tired today. Donald Trump has no idea science. Let's just examine. I'll bet he took no science courses. He was in military school, by the way, and I don't think they took chemistry. I'm pretty sure they didn't take chemistry. They certainly they didn't take ecology. It hadn't been invented then. Ecology was not really a big study then. I don't think it. Well, we would just be getting the beginnings of ecology when Donald was in military school. Why was he in military school? Because he was a big, huge jerk. Yes, you know that. Come on, Trumpers. I know you know some of this stuff. So Donald Trump, no biology, no chemistry, no physics. Oh, physics would be, he'd be lost with physics. And the other thing is Donald doesn't read. I'm going to laugh. Sorry, I'm going to laugh. Donald Trump doesn't read. And Donald Trump doesn't know how to use a computer. And Donald Trump doesn't use email. And Donald Trump doesn't Google. He doesn't know what Googling things is. He doesn't know what that is. Okay, so no email. What would he know? Windows operating system? No, he wouldn't know Windows operating system. I'd be surprised if he's able to type. So you Trumpers out there that put all your eggs in the Trump basket, and how many times did he go bankrupt? Come on, Trumpers. Let's say it all together now. He went bankrupt at least 4 times. Now, for you out there, if you went bankrupt once, wouldn't that just entirely destroy your credit rating? It would, wouldn't it? For us normal people, us normal, regular, without a rich daddy, big rich daddy who's got $200 million or $400 million. No, my dad didn't have $200 million. My dad, and he didn't have $400 million. And so you out there, I think you're in a similar situation. Your parents didn't have $200 million to give to you, or $400 million in our dollar amount. So bankrupt 4 times, but listen, I'm going to beat this into the ground and beat the dead horse. And when you go bankrupt 4 times, you know what the banks do? They go, Jesus, we better not loan this guy any more money because we're going to lose a lot of money. So, and I will say again, the 4th bankruptcy, this was in his stupid Atlantic City casinos, which he never figured out how to operate. He should never have gone in with 4 casinos in crummy Atlantic City. Right, Trumpers? So, and they're all of them are closed, shuttered. One is destroyed. One was demolished. They couldn't do anything with the building. Okay. The other 2 are closed, just abandoned. And I think there's a 4th, which may be operating, but it's not owned by Trump anymore. Trump got rid of it. So you go bankrupt 4 times, and you know what? You can argue with me via email, and I'll even debate one of you guys. You one of your Tea Party people, you want to debate me? Yeah, we can have a debate / discussion. If you Google and you look in Wikipedia, they say 4 bankruptcies, and they give all the casinos that went bankrupt numerous time after time, because Donald never figured out how to run one. And then the American banks said, no more money, get out of here, scram, Donald. And let's see, what marriage was he on at that point? I think he was still on his first marriage, and then his first marriage broke. Just sort of it dissolved into, just broke apart because he was cheating and he was way in debt, etc., etc., etc. Well, and he was seeing Marla. That's right, he was cheating on Ivana, seeing Marla. See, he's got family values. Wait, I haven't heard that term, family values. What? We used to hear family values? God, we got it. Oh, in the W. Bush, family values is all I heard about. Well, okay, wow. Bankruptcies. So your great businessman can't get a loan. Yeah, you can't get a loan from an American bank. So what do you do when you can't get a loan from an American bank for nothing? I don't think you could even get a. I don't think you probably could get a mortgage. Okay. So you're desperate. You're like Donald. You're desperate, and you need to get money because you're greedy, 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 and money is everything, right? Money is everything. Character is nothing. Money is everything. Character is nothing. The truth is nothing. Helping people is nothing. Being a decent person is nothing. It's all right, Tea Party people. It's all about money. How much money do you have? Billionaire. Are you a billionaire or not? So you have to get your money from shady, sketchy sources for financing. And what is the shadiest, sketchiest source of money on the planet? Russian money. Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother. God, there are books written on that. I didn't know how awful and corrupt the Russians were until Donald was elected. And maybe I'll do a whole hour. I could do a whole hour on the Russian mob and the KGB, it's no longer the KGB, it's the GRU, I think. How they've infiltrated, and they brought their spies over. What's her name? Who's in jail? Maria Butina, and she was in the NRA. So you NRA people, you've been infiltrated by Russians, by a Russian person. She's young and attractive. We call her honeypot. Oh, I'm rambling on. So Donald has to get money, loans, or even gifts, you could say, forgiven loans from Russia. He can't get them from the American banks. He has a horrible track record, horrible credit history, and so he has to get the money from Russia and then the former Soviet republics. So yeah, that's why we're in this utter mess that we're in. Can I say anything else? Yeah, I don't know how many of you gone bankrupt four times. But that's the great businessman, the genius businessman. Is he stable? He's a stable genius, right? All he does all day long, he golfs and he tweets. And doesn't read, doesn't bother to read. Yep, doesn't know how to use a computer. So, well, God, we got another year to go of this guy, at least. Okay, I better stop. Thanks for listening and watching. Hey, Scott. Mrs. Rolf Hubel. I saw you put out another video today, and I didn't slog. I use the word slog. I didn't slog my way through your video like I should. I should at least try to keep up with the Trumper world. But what I thought I would try to do today, instead of talking about global warming, by the way, let me re-emphasize, jeez, just a brief, comment on global warming is there is no debate. Like, how many countries are in the world, Scott? Is it 180 countries? 180 countries in the world, maybe? 200? I don't know, 190? Every single one of them, when they went to the Paris conference or the Paris Accord, it was almost unanimous. I think there were 3 countries that maybe 2. Syria was one of them that didn't agree with the at least the goals of the Paris Accord. I mean, goals that we should the humans should try to do something. try to do something about global warming. And we were the only one, maybe one country that pulled out. So, you could, France, Germany, Japan, China, India, all the major, you just list all the countries in the world practically, right? And they're in agreement with that global warming is happening. We've got to try to do something about it. The second thing is to mention is all the scientific societies. I'm talking about all across all scientific disciplines. So it's chemistry, geology, physics, even the American Medical Association, the doctors agree that they've got a statement on climate change. The meteorologists, Scott, and I keep saying this to you, and if you're mystified and confused, if you're dazed and confused and mystified, just go to the American Meteorological Society, the people that predict the weather every day, right? For all the local news people and for the airlines, right? Airlines, you've got to know the weather. Just go to their website. They have a wonderfully written, extremely thorough statement. So meteorologists, chemists, geologists, I mean, physicists. What do I get? Who am I missing? Just every major biologist. Biologists are now studying how animals and plants are changing the behavior because now things are getting warmer all over. It's warm in the oceans. The oceans are definitely getting warmer. The Arctic region is getting very warm. The Arctic region is warming faster than any other part of the globe. There is no debate. I'm going to keep repeating it. There is no debate at this point. The only debate, here's what the debate is. The debate is how fast and how bad. That's the more interesting question, Scott. So don't waste your time on persuasion and tweets. What would be the best tweet to put out to convince people that climate change is a problem? What's the best tweet? What should the NASA tweet today? Because Donald is such a good tweeter. Oh, is he so good at tweeting? He can't do anything else, right? He can practically do nothing else. He can't staff his White House. They keep quitting. They're either quitting or they're under indictment. Okay. Wow, I've already burned up 4 minutes there. Okay. Yeah, the real question, and for the younger people, is how fast is it going to warm up, and how bad is it going to be? Like, are we going to have crop failure? Are we going to have flooding in all the coastal areas, etc.? But let me just go quickly. God, I burned up 4 minutes on stupid global warming, the non-debate on global warming. Okay, I was curious about how many bankruptcies Trump had gone through, right? Bankruptcy. Because Trump has a long history of failure, huge history of failure and bankruptcy, and he has zero credit worthiness. The American banks, Scott, Donald Trump, that great businessman, has zero credit rating with American banks. In other words, the American banks will not loan any money to Donald Trump because he's such a terrible credit risk. They will not loan him money. And the only ones that will loan him money are the foreign banks like Deutsche Bank, which is a crappy bank, which has been under sanctions, which has been under investigation. Deutsche Bank is German. So the American banks have cut him off. He's out. So let me just go. I suggest you do this and the other Trumpers as well. Research, man. Google. Or use another search engine if you don't like Google. Okay, I'm going to Wikipedia here. Okay. And this is Wikipedia. I'm going to read this first paragraph because it's so devastating. It is so devastating on Trump's investment in the casino/gambling industry and and Atlantic City. Huge. He put all his eggs in that crummy basket of Atlantic City, and he lost big time. Big time. And I'm talking a billion or more. Billion or more. It could be 2 billion, it could be 3 billion. I don't know, because I thought he only invested in 3 properties, 3 casinos in Atlantic City. I was wrong. 4 frickin' casinos in crappy ass Atlantic. Well, let's call it shithole. Shithole, crappy ass. I'm using the president's language now. Okay, so here's this first paragraph. Okay. Trump Entertainments and Resorts Incorporated is a gambling and hospitality company that currently does not own or operate any properties. That's because they've all gone. This is mine. That's because they've all gone out of business. Okay. The company previously owned and operated Trump Taj Mahal, the shuttered. And the Taj Mahal, the shuttered Trump Plaza. So we're up to 2 now. 2. The demolished Trump World's Fair. That's 3. And the now renamed Trump Marina. This is 4. All located in shithole Atlantic City. Okay, New Jersey. But the company had other ventures elsewhere in the country, but these properties were the main focus. Formerly known as Trump Hotels and Casino Resort, it was founded in 1995 by Donald Trump, now the 45th President of the United States, unfortunately. The company... Okay, here we go, Scott. The company... This is Trump's company. The company filed for bankruptcy in 2004, 2009, and 2014. That's 3 bankruptcy filings. If you're wondering, 3 bankruptcy filings for 4 crappy hotel/casinos in Atlantic City. I'm doing the visuals here. I'm trying to get through to the Trumper people. It has been a subsidiary of Icon Enterprise since 2016. The Trump Entertainment Resorts no longer owns any of its properties except the Trump Plaza, which remains vacant. Pardon my laughter, Scott. That's 4 huge failures. This is the big man, the man with the brain, man with the biggest brain ever. Bigger than Lincoln's, bigger than Washington, bigger than Einstein. I don't know, but okay. Oh, I'm going into Trump speak now, Trump mode, which is just bullshit mode, right? So all of those 4. And I don't know, this is, you can do this on your own, Wikipedia. That's the first paragraph, okay? And then it goes into how they tried to sell junk bonds. They tried to sell junk bonds because they couldn't sell real bonds, I guess. They were such a poor risk. The Trump Taj Mahal was such a money loser, a money pit. They couldn't pay. Here we go again. I'm going to give it the thumbs up. Donald Trump could not pay the interest payments on the Taj Mahal. He made so little money off of that huge money pit. They could not, I'm going to emphasize, they could not pay the freaking interest payments on it. And then they floated crappy-ass junk bonds to try to finance the whole crappy thing. Okay, pardon my laughter. So let's see. What else can we say? And then it's just financial trouble. Filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection 4 times. Let's see. Oh, it says here Trump Entertainment Resorts and its predecessor have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy 4 times. In 1991, following construction of the billion-dollar Taj Mahal, and 2004, 2009, 2014. So it changed ownership for those who are confused because of the wheeling and dealing. But originally, the Taj Mahal was under a different operation, and Trump had a different name for the operator. And okay, so it went bankrupt in 1991. Okay, and then they changed ownership and names in 96, I guess it was, 1996. But it still was freaking losing money. It was never going to make money. And let me end this way. Here's why it was never going to make money, Scott, and I'm going to give the big thumbs up. It's never going to make money. Never. Because when there's at least two reasons. Reason number one, Atlantic City is a shithole, crappy location. Okay? If you're going to gamble, why freaking go to Atlantic City if you got money? What? Go to Las Vegas. I don't know. Go to Miami. Right? I'm going to do the Trump thing. Yeah, why go to Atlantic City? Doesn't make any sense if you have money. Okay, so crappy location. Crappy location. Shithole location. And reason number two why it was never going to fly, and so Trump just was dumping billions of dollars down a rat hole, whatever, is because Indian casino gaming was taking off across the country, and state lotteries were taking across the country. I'm in the Midwest, and we started a state lottery, and then we started casino gambling. In the late 80s, late 70s, early 80s. So it was going to lose. It was going to lose all that business. And Trump stupidly, because he's lazy, and he doesn't read, and he doesn't, plan out. He just buys. He just buys stuff. Says, I got this now. I got this. So thanks, Scott, for entertaining me or whatever, and I will slog through more of your videos. But he's a horrible businessman and a horrible president. Let me end this way. He will be worse than Richard Nixon. I think he's way more corrupt, terribly incompetent, terribly lazy. He may be treasonous. He may be working with the Russians. I don't know if that. It certainly seems by all indications is that he's cooperating with the Russians. Let's put it that way. But he will be one of the worst presidents we've ever had, and I would say worse and more corrupt than Richard Nixon. That's my view. Worse than Richard Nixon, who was impeached. Thanks for nothing, Scott.
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.